3 days before he was supposed to get married, he walked out of his house with a backpack, no phone, and a one-way bus ticket to nowhere. No note. No goodbye. Just silence where love used to be. People said he cracked under pressure, that the weight of expectations finally broke him. But the truth? He didn't run from something. He ran toward something. Something most people spend their whole lives chasing, without even knowing it exists. And in exactly 7 days, his life changed forever. Not because of a miracle. Not because of luck. But because of a simple reset, a quiet rebellion against burnout, against numbness, against pretending everything was fine when it wasn't. If stories like this touch something deep inside you, if you've ever felt trapped in your own life, or wondered if this is all there is, take 1 second right now to like and subscribe. Most people watch these videos silently. They feel seen, then close the tab and go back to surviving. But that small action, liking, subscribing, it genuinely helps this channel keep creating stories for people who are tired of faking strength while drowning inside. So do it now. Because what happens next might save someone. His name was Daniel. Not some guru. Not an influencer. Just a man in his early 30s who woke up every morning feeling like he was playing a role in a movie he never auditioned for. He had the job, the apartment, the relationship, the plans. On paper. Perfect. Inside. A war zone. Every night, he'd lie awake, staring at the ceiling, asking the same question over and over. Is this really all I'm meant for? He wasn't depressed, not clinically. But he was empty. Like someone had drained the color from his world and left behind a black and white version of a life. Work consumed him. His relationship felt more like a contract than connection. His body was tired all the time. His mind, always racing, never resting. And yet, he kept going. Because that's what we do, isn't it? We push. We grind. We adult our way through life like soldiers marching into battle with no idea what we are fighting for. Daniel thought he was alone. Until the day he found the notebook. It was tucked inside an old library book he picked up at a thrift store, The Art of Stillness by Pico Iyer. He wasn't even reading it. Just flipping pages, killing time on a Sunday afternoon. And then, there it was. A folded piece of paper, covered in handwriting so neat it looked typed. At the top, 3 words. The 7-day reset. Below it, a list. Simple. Quiet. Almost absurd in its simplicity. Day 1. Do nothing productive. Day 2. Speak only when spoken to. Day 3. Walk without destination. Day 4. Eat 1 meal. Fast the rest. Day 5. Write a letter you'll never send. Day 6. Sit in silence for 3 hours. Day 7. Ask yourself 1 question. What have I been running from?
No explanation. No instructions.
Just those 7 lines. And beneath them, a single sentence. If you complete this, you will not be the same person on day 8. Daniel laughed. Then paused. Then read it again. And for the first time in years, his heart did something strange. It hoped. Not hope like, maybe things will get better. But real, dangerous hope. The kind that whispers, you don't have to stay stuck. He didn't know who wrote it. Didn't know if it was real. Didn't know if it would work. But 3 days later, on the morning he was supposed to sign wedding invitations, he packed a bag, left his phone on the kitchen counter, and boarded a Greyhound heading west. With nothing but that notebook page in his pocket. And the terrifying belief that maybe, just maybe, he deserved more than survival. Daniel sat on a park bench in a town he'd never heard of. No phone. No book. No music. Just sitting. People passed. Dogs barked. Kids screamed. Life moved around him. But he did nothing. After 20 minutes, His legs started bouncing. After 40, he caught himself mentally drafting emails. After an hour, he nearly pulled out his wallet to check the time. Doing nothing felt like torture. Because productivity isn't just what we do, it's who we think we are. When you stop producing, you start confronting the void underneath. Who are you when you're not achieving? Daniel didn't like the answer. By evening, he was pacing his motel room, itching to call someone, to scroll, to do something. But he held on. And in that stillness, something shifted. A memory surfaced. Him, age 9, lying in a field behind his childhood home, watching clouds drift.
No agenda.
No goals. Just being. He hadn't felt that free since. Silence is heavier than words. By noon, Daniel's throat ached from holding back. At the diner, the waitress asked how he was. He smiled. Nodded. She frowned. "You okay?" "Yes," he said. One word. That was it. All day, he swallowed sentences. Watched conversations pass him by. Felt invisible. But something strange happened. When he stopped speaking, he started hearing. Not just sounds, but truths. Overhearing a couple argue about money. A man on the phone saying, "I just need one day when no one needs anything from me." A child asking, "Daddy, why are you always sad?" Daniel realized, we talk to avoid listening, to avoid feeling, to avoid the quiet places inside us that scream when we finally stop. That night, he wrote in his journal, "I've spent my whole life filling the silence. What if the silence is where I belong?" No map. No GPS. No plan. Just steps. He walked for hours. Through neighborhoods, forests, empty parking lots. No purpose.
No urgency.
And with every mile, something loosened in his chest. He noticed things he hadn't in years. The way light hits a puddle after rain. The smell of bread from a bakery at dawn. The sound of wind through power lines. Small miracles. The kind we miss when we are always rushing to the next thing. But then, around mile 7, his body gave out. Legs burning. Feet blistered. Mind screaming to stop. He collapsed on a curb, head in hands. And that's when it hit him. This wasn't about walking. It was about surrender. Letting go of control. Of outcomes. Of needing to know where he was going. For the first time in his adult life, he wasn't trying to get anywhere. And somehow, that's when he started arriving. Fasting isn't just about food. It's about hunger. And Daniel was starving, for more than calories. He ate a simple meal at sunset. Rice, vegetables, water. Then nothing. By midnight, his stomach growled. By 3 a.m., his thoughts turned sharp, clear. Fasting strips away the noise. And in that clarity, memories flooded in. His father, working 80-hour weeks, missing every birthday. His mother, smiling through pain, saying, "Sacrifice is love." He saw it now. He wasn't just burned out. He was haunted. Haunted by a story he never chose. Work hard. Stay busy. Never complain. Succeed at all costs. And now, here he was. Living it. Dying inside because of it. The fast wasn't punishing his body. It was freeing his mind. He sat at a wooden desk in a borrowed cabin, pen trembling. The page was blank. Then, the dam broke. Page after page, he wrote to everyone who'd shaped his pain. To his father, "You taught me that love means exhaustion. That presence means nothing if you're not providing. I became you, and I hate what it did to me." To his fiancée, "I didn't leave because I stopped loving you. I left because I couldn't love anyone while I was disappearing." To himself, "I'm sorry I forgot you existed. I'm sorry I traded your peace for praise. I'm sorry I called burnout success." He cried as he wrote. Not soft tears. Deep, guttural sobs that shook his ribs. Because some truths can only be spoken when no one's listening. And when he finished, he burned the letter, watched the ashes rise into the air, and for the first time, he felt clean. No movement.
No stimulation.
Just breath. The first hour was agony. Legs numb. Mind racing. Every itch unbearable. The second hour. Something cracked open. Memories. Emotions. Visions. A flash of himself as a boy, drawing pictures no one praised. A moment at work when he ignored his gut to please his boss. The exact second he agreed to get engaged, not because he wanted to, but because he was supposed to. He saw the pattern. He had spent his life outsourcing his worth. To grades. To promotions. To relationships. To other people's expectations. And in doing so, he lost himself. By the third hour, he wasn't thinking. He was feeling. And what he felt wasn't sadness. It was grief. Grief for the man he could have been. The life he could have lived. The joy he buried under shoulds. But also, beneath it all, hope. Tiny. Fragile. But alive. Like a seed pushing through concrete. He stood at the edge of a lake at sunrise. Wind on his face. Water shimmering. And he asked it, out loud, what have I been running from? The answer came fast. Fear. Not of failure. Of freedom. Because if he admitted he was unhappy, if he truly faced how empty he felt, then he'd have to change. And change is terrifying. Because it means losing the life you know. Even if it's killing you. He realized he wasn't running from marriage. He was running from a lifetime of pretending. From living a script written by everyone else. And in that moment, he made a choice. Not to return to his old life, but to rebuild. From scratch. With honesty. With courage. With himself at the center. Now I want to ask you, have you ever felt like Daniel? Like you're moving forward, but actually going backwards? Like you're successful on the outside, but hollow on the inside? Have you ever done everything right, and still felt broken? Leave a comment right now. Just one word. Or a sentence. Whatever comes up. Because someone else watching this video, they're feeling it too. And your words might be the thing that makes them feel less alone. Do it now. Before you forget. Daniel didn't come back the same man. He returned home 2 weeks later. Not to reclaim his old life, but to end it. He met his fiancée face to face.
No blame.
No drama. Just truth. I love you, he said. But I can't marry you until I learn how to marry myself. She cried. So did he. But she nodded. Because deep down, she knew. Some loves aren't meant to last. They're meant to teach. To prepare us for the next chapter. He quit his job. Not dramatically. Quietly. Submitted his resignation with a note. Thank you for the opportunity. But I need to find out who I am when I'm not working. People called him crazy. Ungrateful. Selfish. But Daniel had learned something most adults never do. Burnout isn't caused by working too hard. It's caused by working for the wrong reasons. By building a life that looks good, but feels dead. He started small. Wrote in the mornings. Walked in the afternoons. Sat with silence every night. No audience.
No metrics.
No pressure. Just healing. And slowly, like seasons changing, he began to feel alive again. Colors seemed brighter. Music deeper. Laughter easier. He reconnected with old passions. Painting. Poetry. Stargazing. Things he'd abandoned because they weren't practical. And here's the wild part. Within 6 months, opportunities found him. A publisher reached out about his journal entries. A wellness brand invited him to speak at a retreat. A woman, quiet, grounded, full of light, sat beside him at a cafe and said, "You seem peaceful." How? He smiled. And for the first time, he knew the answer. But here's what no one tells you about resets. They don't fix everything. They don't erase pain. They don't guarantee happiness. What they do, they create space. Space to breathe, to remember, to choose differently. Because burnout isn't the enemy. Compliance is. The quiet agreement to live a life that drains you, because it's safe, because it's expected, because it's easy. Daniel's 7-day reset wasn't magic. It was medicine. A forced pause in a world that glorifies motion. And the truth? You don't need to disappear to reset. You don't need to walk out on your life. You just need 7 days. 7 intentional, courageous days, where you stop performing and start being. Where you trade productivity for presence. Noise for stillness. External validation for internal truth. And yes, some days will hurt. Day 1 will make you anxious. Day 2 will make you lonely. Day 6 might break you open. But that's the point. You can't heal in the same environment that made you sick. You can't find yourself while constantly running from yourself. And you can't build a meaningful life on a foundation of burnout. Daniel's story isn't rare. It's replicable. Because the 7-day reset isn't about him. It's about you. It's about the version of you that still dreams at night. That flinches when someone says, "Just keep going." That wonders, in quiet moments, is this all there is? That version? It's still there. Waiting. Not for permission, but for courage. Let me tell you what happened on day 8. Daniel woke up. Sunlight on his face.
No alarm. No rush.
He made tea. Sat by the window. And for the first time in years, he didn't think about the future. He just was. And in that moment, he understood. The reset wasn't about changing his life. It was about remembering it. Remembering that he wasn't built for endless hustle. That rest isn't laziness, it's resistance. That silence isn't emptiness, it's wisdom. And that true transformation doesn't come from grinding harder. It comes from stopping, listening, choosing yourself over and over until the world stops defining you. He never published a book, never became famous, never made it by society standards. But he found something rarer. Peace. Not the kind that comes from having it all. The kind that comes from knowing you are enough, even when you have nothing. And that changes everything. If this story stayed with you until the end, share it with someone who needs this message today. Not because they're broken, but because they're human. Because they're tired of pretending. Because they deserve to remember who they are, beneath the noise, the roles, the expectations. Don't let this video vanish into your history. Subscribe. Not for me, but for the next person who's searching for a sign that they're not alone. And watch the next video on your screen right now, because it might be the one that helps you finally stop running and start coming home.